Hello from Global Strategy. My name is Joshua Weiger and I work with projects and donor relations. In just a minute, I'm going to share with you a conversation with one of our project managers or missionaries who serve overseas. But first, I want to tell you why. 2020 has been filled with all kinds of loss and disruption. As we find ourselves in the last 2 months of the year, we wanted to share with you a chance to finish 2020 strong. We checked in with our local project leaders and we have 14 projects that need a little help to get over the finish line. These projects all fit into 4 categories: education projects, entrepreneurial endeavors, church cultivation, and compassion ministries. We have a unique opportunity before the end of the year to maximize a $50,000 match. This means any gifts toward our year-end Finish Strong campaign will be doubled. For more information on our campaign or the match, please visit childglobal.org/finishstrong.
Well, Mr. Barton, thank you so much for your time with us today. I am so glad to have you on this Zoom call to be able to share with you some time so that we can tell people about what you're doing and about the great project at Futsukaichi Church and your community there. I said Mr. Barton, but everybody knows you as Bernie. Everybody that I know, at least, knows you as Bernie, and I'm so thankful for that. We were just joking before the Zoom call about how I was going to introduce you. So Bernie, you and Akiko are in Japan, and you're serving as missionaries there. Would you tell us how long you've been in Japan?
I first came to Japan in 1976, right after graduating from Anderson University. So 44 years ago.
A few years. Wow.
I was in seminary for 3 years in there, so I've actually lived here for 41 years.
Okay. And what part of Japan?
That's pretty long.
Yeah, that's pretty long. What part of Japan do you live in?
Right now, we live in southern Japan on the island of Kyushu. And I say island, but it's one of the 4 main islands, so it's a huge island. Big island. But the southern main island of Japan, we live in Fukuoka Prefecture. The reason we live in this community is because it's a community of 30,000 people, and there's not one Christian church at all in this community. My role here in Kyushu is as the cooperating missionary with Futsukaichi Eiko Christ Church is the name of the church. It's a Church of God congregation started back in 1970 or so by Ann and Nathan Smith. And then Ron and Jackie Maurer came and ministered here for a number of years. We also worked here when we lived in Japan 40 years ago. Wow. So when we first lived here. So we've been associated with this church for a long time. It's a small church. We average about 15 people on Sunday morning, and we're packed with 15 people because we meet in the living room of the old Smith mission residence. And so it's rather limited in space, but it's, and we have it packed out. So that's a good thing. What we're hoping to do with our project is, since you asked about, we're talking about that a little bit also, is that we need to build a new worship and community ministry center here in this place, so we can grow. Actually, we have people come and there's no place to sit, and it's hard to get new people to come in when there's no place to sit right now. So we're working on getting the new church here. My other main role is that I serve as the chairman of the board of directors for Tamagawa Seigakuin, which is an all-girls junior and senior high school, mission school in Tokyo that was started in 1950 by a Japanese pastor with help from the missionary board of the Church of God in the U.S. And I served there for 15 years as the headmaster of the school, and then turned that over to an amazing Japanese woman who is serving there as headmaster now, pastor, named Dieko Ando, and I work with her. I'm as the chairman of the board of directors there. Just came back from the 70th anniversary celebration of that school just last weekend.
So cool. I love those celebrations. Even in the midst of a pandemic, you're able to get together and celebrate. And, you know, this is a good reason to celebrate. So I'm so glad we get to have you on here now with that fresh in your mind too. So we celebrate with you, Bernie. Thank you for sharing that.
Let me tell you one good story about the celebration, Joshua.
Yeah.
While at the celebration, the mother of who has two daughters who went to Thomas A came to me. We had not only graduates come for the celebration, but also parents of graduates, because the school develops quite a good relationship. This mother came to me and said, I want you to know that because of the COVID crisis, Thomas A had their morning chapels online for the students. We were doing online classes, and she watched with her daughters every morning our chapel services at Thomas A. And she said, while watching those services for about 2.5 months, I decided that I want to be a Christian and be baptized.
Wow.
And so she was happy to tell me that report at this 70th anniversary celebration. Good news.
Woo, great news. I am so encouraged by that. Thank you so much for sharing.
The reason that we were asked to come and work with this church is because the pastor and his wife he's 81 now, and she's in her upper 70s. They desired to reach out in the community, but they weren't having much success in it. So they asked us to come and work in outreach ministry at the church. So we came. I started English classes. Akiko teaches piano. When we started these English classes, that automatically brought people in contact with the church. They started a meal program on twice a month especially for kids who maybe latchkey kids or don't have a good family situation at supper. So they started this meal program. We have a bunch of junior high boys, of all things, who come to that meal program. We have about 20 to 25 people every time. That meal program started. Also, they allowed us to come into the community center in our community and start English program there. And we met lots of people through that community center. And because of our contact with the community center, the pastor and his wife started singing in the community chorus at the center. Akiko started a handbell choir here, and they invited our handbell choir to play for their fall festival. And because of that, we were invited to the city Christmas lighting tree lighting event, and we played there. So all of this just started out because of the outreach of the English class, and it continued to build and grow. And now we have a pretty good range of contact around the immediate area of the church and also into the larger community. So that's why we were asked to be here, and we feel that that's happening. And because of that, also we have more people now who are starting to show interest in the church.
Yeah.
One of the ladies whose daughter came to the English program used to come with her daughter and sit there, and she would say all the words that I was teaching in English. So I said to her one day, would you be interested in a class? And she said, yeah, I guess, but I don't want to be by myself. So Akiko started studying with her, and that was our first adult class, and that's developed now. So we have a adult English program now also. And this lady is our greatest evangelist. She brings people all the time, but she's never yet been to a church service.
Wow.
She's been to special events, but not to a Sunday morning worship. So, just within the outreach has expanded, which is what we were asked to do. So we feel that God is working in that in really pretty amazing ways.
Yeah.
We're very grateful.
Yeah. And man, I think that's encouraging to our churches here, even to have an idea of outreach in ways that we wouldn't think of here in North America. We wouldn't think of having most churches wouldn't think of having an English class, you know, and given context, maybe that's appropriate in some communities, here in the States even, but
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And the fact that that woman has become your biggest evangelist and bringing people all the time. So good.
Japan is the safest, cleanest, industrialized nation in the world, I believe. And it's a good place to be. Good people. But see, Josh, it's full of good people. But sometimes the good is the enemy of the best.
Yeah.
Sometimes. And so because people are so good, sometimes they don't realize their need for the best. It's clean. The trains run like clockwork here, but people, very few people come to know Christ as their Savior. Only 1% of the population of Japan, after all these years of Protestant evangelism, is Christian at this point. And so there's still a lot of work to do here.
Well, Bernie, is there anything else that you'd like to share with people who are thinking about giving to the year-end campaign, and specifically toward how it will help Futsukaichi Church?
We started this project about 5 years ago. When we came here first to this church, it was already being talked about, and the church started raising money. We have a budget of about $500,000 to build a new ministry center here. The church, this little bitty church, has at this point raised about almost $400,000 of that $500,000 need. And so we lack about $100,000 still, and the church has promised about $70,000 of that. Already the church people have promised offerings for the coming year at that point. And also we have received some offerings through Global Strategy, through the project that we have, some significant offerings, and we need, Church of 15 people has raised $400,000 already. They need a little bit of a boost, and so we're just asking for people to come alongside us and help us get over the edge. The church itself doesn't want to go in debt, and because we're so small and we don't have any collateral really, so we can't borrow from a bank. Here in Japan we can't, and so we're just asking for some help to get over this last bump so we can start building.
And it fits so well with our year-end campaign, because our theme for the year-end campaign is finish strong. And we thought that this year in particular, we wanted to finish 2020 strong, and there were a number of projects like this that needed help to finish strong. And so we're thankful to be able to highlight Futsukaichi as a part of our year-end campaign, and any monies given to the year-end campaign are going to be matched. And so if we meet our goal, we'll be able to help finish out the Futsukaichi project, and we're so excited about that, Bernie.
I really believe, Joshua, that the church in the U.S. wants to give. I believe that with all my heart. So, you know, what we want to do is just just connect with the people and help them to know how they can be a part of this. And I believe that God is talking to people's hearts, and that there are people who really want to support the church and our church and help us with this building. So I'm excited just to get this news out to people.
Well, thank you again, Bernie, for your time. We love you very much, and we're excited to be able to partner with you in this way.